Let me ask you this, Alondra. So, when you talked about like the numbers and it sounded like that kind of took out a lot of the emotion, meaning that, getting high or getting low when you had a big day on the phones or a big day in the field or a bad day or vice versa. Like it didn't sound like you had a lot of emotion that you carried into this business. And I want to, I want to actually ask you, like, how did you balance your emotion? Was there times where you got really high and low, or were you pretty much even kill where you focused on kind of the numbers, knowing that if I put in this activity, it's going to lead to this outcome, and where you focused on that? Can you kind of talk a little bit about where your focus was and how you saw that?
So I definitely think one, I am a very emotional, emotional person. Like, I mean, I get high, I get low. It's in my genes. I'm Hispanic. So, any little thing can trigger me and I could take it very personal. But when it came to this business, everything, I became very just like business minded. Like I would make decisions unemotional. Like if I had to spend X amount of money on leads, like I never questioned it because I would listen to the people who were where I wanted to be. And if they said you need to spend $1,500 to $3,000 a week on leads, depends on whatever you want to make. Like I did that because I trusted them, because I saw where they were. And it was just, I became unemotional about it. I said, you know what, if I do this, it's only going to make me better. I never questioned anything about this business from Sean. If you guys are plugging into everything, you kind of just, you learn to have faith in the people that they're telling you because they want to help you get better. And then during the weeks, like if you just, because I was so unemotional about spending money for this business, when it came to the leads, my only objective was to resolve every single one of them. And how quick can I make the money back? Because that was like that was like my motivator. It's like, okay, Alondra, you have to do this again next week, so you better get busy and resolve these leads, because I was on automatic orders. I forced myself to get on automatic orders so I can automatically have leads coming in. So like I would have no downtime. So all I would spend the whole week was just resolving leads. And that way it was very easy for me not to get like too high or too low. Because as I got better, I started showing bigger numbers. I started making bigger sales. And it was kind of just, you just become numb to it. Like, because it really isn't about the money. It's just, how many of these can I resolve? Like, how many sits can I do in a week? And that's what I focused on. And that's what helped me not, the highs and the lows. Like, if I'd had a crappy day, I'd be like, you know what, the field owes me. But every day, Paul, I feel like it's a mindset thing. Always, always, always. Like, I try to keep myself pretty high, because if I was high, I was able to be confident in the homes. So I would be like, I'd start my day and be like, I'm going to write 10K today, even if I had like 4 appointments on the books and a bunch of door knocks scheduled. Like, I would tell myself that to help get me like, don't dread the drives, or, because this business, you can get pretty lonely. So I did a lot of that. I just talked very, very highly. And then, I just knew I had so many people to see. And it was just, at the end of the week, you're like, oh crap, I made this much money, but it wasn't, it's like, well, I helped so many families. So it was just very easy when you just keep yourself busy.
And
If you're not busy, you get in
it sounds like
trouble.
your expectation was also something that was set as success. Like I think for me early on, a lot of times, and I would just not even be conscious of it, meaning that I wasn't like thinking about like, is this thought in alignment with the path to success, or is this thought in alignment with the path of me not getting what I really want, not getting my desired outcome? Like I would think when the client would answer the door, like they would be busy, and so a lot of times early on, I was like, man, why do I continue to get every time I knock on the dang door that like I see the person like spouse on the couch and like, no, 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 well, my husband's not here. I'm like, and I could see him, but when I was introducing myself, it was as if they were busy and I was basically inconveniencing them. And I continued to get that from them because I was like embodying that. And then my behavior showed up and really validated the verdict in my mind that it was already that they're going to be busy. And it was the same thing with calling leads. I would think like in my mind, I assumed for me that the client would always want a quote. Like, why would they not want to just ask for a quote? And so because I had convinced myself of that, my first like 5 calls, they're like, Sounds good, but can we get a quote? Sounds good. Can we get a quote? So I go back to the MP3s and I listen to the MP3s and I get the quote objection. I call the guy that hired me. Hey, dude, I got the quote objection. He's like, you got it again? I was like, yeah. And he's like, well, say this. I said, I did say it. Listen to my recording. He's like, you did say that. I said, no, I keep freaking saying it. They keep saying it. He's like, what do you expect? I was like, I expect to get the quote objection because I keep getting the quote objection. He's like, that's why. And I realized that, like at the end of the day, if I got first and foremost, I better have my expectation right. And see, too often agents are going out there and they almost want to prove themselves wrong, so to speak. Meaning that their expectation is set like they're probably not going to show up. I'm probably not going to close that one. Oh, the client's really old. Well, that client had this condition. They're probably, and they start finding all these reasons to validate what they don't want, and they don't even realize it. And they go out there and they wonder why the week's not working out. But I think it starts with the expectation. So what you just said, Alondra, was so good that when you started the day, even if it was 4 appointments, you didn't say, well, I should have had 8. It's only 4. So, well, the reality is this: should you have had 8? Maybe, but you have 4. You can't go back and fix what you don't have now. And so let's just expect that those 4 are going to be fruitful 4. I'm going to go out there and sit with some clients that have got some big premium. I'm going to write some good business. Now you might have wrote 4,000 instead of 10, but if you didn't have that expectation, I wonder if you would have wrote nothing, or you would have wrote 1 app instead of 4. And I think the answer is yes. I think the answer is you're going to get less of the outcome. And so I wonder if anybody on here today, if you checked your expectation before you move to the action, if the action you took would be more in alignment with the desired outcome you desire. Meaning that if today's a dial day, I wonder if you just expect to book everybody that answers. Now you're going to book them all, but in your mind, if your expectation is I should book them all because they sent in a form, everybody needs life insurance, they're asking for help, they've actually enrolled in the fact that they want help. If that's the case, well then if they don't book an appointment, then I go to, well, they're probably just having an off day, or that person probably just doesn't have their head on right. I mean, who knows what the heck's going on? But you go to that as the possible reason, not these leads ain't any good. So I think an expectation also leads you to, what reason you have when you have the outcome come, or the response to the outcome when it does come. And I think a lot of times I might be bred and set up in expectation. So maybe success is bred in expectation.